Hey guys, today I wanted to talk to you guys about avoiding burnout and how to prevent burnout. This is something that plagues so many people that are hustling, so many entrepreneurs, hustlers, working moms. So this is a topic that a lot of people that are wearing a lot of different hats in their life or trying to achieve a lot of things in their life struggle with, or just even if you have one job and it's just overwhelming. So I am going to give you tips. First, we're going to deal with how to avoid getting burned out from work stress and just life in general. And then we're going to talk about how to recover from being burned out. So we'll start right in. The first tip in avoiding burnout I have is knowing your limitations. Essentially, do not spread yourself too thin. Take a look at your calendar, see what's realistic for you to do, and then all the extra, the stuff that doesn't really relate to your goals, the stuff that you don't really have time for, the stuff that you're just overextending yourself to either be a perfectionist or to help other people. If it's not realistic and as far as the time that you have, take it off. So the first thing is be really comfortable with your limitations and what you can really do, and don't spread yourself too thin. The second step in avoiding burnout is slow down. Slow down. This is something that I have had to learn the hard way, but it really helps in preventing you from even getting to a state of feeling burned out as you hustle. So being busy does not equal being successful. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm so busy, that means they're automatically successful or working towards their dreams, and that's not always the case, especially, and a lot of times it's not. So you're going to want to prioritize your to-do list, and you're going to want to be very intentional about what you're doing. Slow down so you can do well at what you're doing and not just do a whole bunch of things and have a whole bunch of things scattered on your plate. You want to take your time with the things that matter. You want to stay focused and forget about multitasking. When you sit down to work, don't try to do a million different things. Check your email, check your Instagram, working on a million different things with a lot of different tabs open. Slow down, focus, forget what you've heard about multitasking. It doesn't really exist. Our brains were not meant for that. So focus on one thing at a time. And look at hustling as a long distance race. It's not a sprint. It's not about exerting all your energy at once. It's about being steady. It's about being consistent. And it's about being focused. All right? And the third tip in avoiding burnout is know what burnout looks for you so you can recognize the signs. So if you start to get a really good idea of what it looks like for you to be burned out, when you get in those first one or two phases of being burned out, you're going to recognize it, and you're going to be able to do the steps that I'm going to talk about in a second to recover from the burnout. So really know what it looks like. For me, my notes here as usual, it looks like I get overworked and over obligated. That's usually the first step. Then I have procrastination because I have too many things on my plate. Then I get anxiety about all of that procrastination and feeling overwhelmed. Then I avoid my work because I'm feeling anxious and feeling like I don't have the tools to conquer everything that I have to do. Then I feel guilty about the avoidance. Then I get sad. And then that decreases my motivation and decreases my ability to take action towards my goals. So if I really start to notice around the step where I'm overworked and over obligated and not getting enough sleep, all those things, that's the step that I can really intervene before all those other steps come into play. However, if you came to this video because you are already feeling burned out, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling stressed out, you feel like your job is overworking you and underpaid, I got you. Here's some tips to deal with if you're already burned out. And you can recover. It's just going to take time and intentionality. First, we're going to deal with the body. I want you to really overdose on sleep and overdose on rest. It's going to take your brain a time to recover. I have an article about everything that I'm talking about, which I'll link down below, which goes over without the details more in depth than I can go into in this video. So I'll link that article below. But essentially, you want to make sure you're getting a lot of sleep because The brain is damaged by chronic stress, and sleep is going to help the body recover. So you want to kind of look at it as you're recovering from an illness. You also want to get a lot of exercise. It sounds counterintuitive. You're not going to really feel like exercising, but exercise is good when you're burned out because it's going to help you get that serotonin. It's going to help you get the oxygen to the brain that helps with sadness and fatigue. And it's also going to help you get motivated. It's going to help you get to bed at night, sleep better, because burnout causes restlessness. So exercise, even though you don't feel like it, you're going to carve out time and really force yourself to do that. So sleep, exercise, and then the last thing for the body is really eat clean. So you don't want to work against yourself when you're burned out. You don't want to be eating sluggish food when you're already sluggish. That don't make sense. So eat clean, eat organic, eat healthy foods, eat lots of greens, eat things that are going to give you energy, because you're not going to want to work against yourself. Don't work against yourself. Work for yourself. So all those things are what we should be doing normally, sleeping well, exercising, and eating well. But when we're burned out, we have a tendency not to do those things. So you're going to want to force yourself. And for your mind and your spirit to recover from burnout, you're going to want to stay aware of these symptoms: irritability, sadness, decreased motivation, restlessness, and avoidance. When you notice those things, I want you to separate those symptoms of burnout from your own identity. And that's really key to getting over from burnout. So you're going to notice that you're irritable. You're going to notice that you have decreased motivation. And instead of saying, oh, I'm just not a motivated person, or instead of coming down on yourself or feeling bad about yourself or getting anxious because you feel like you just can't get together, take a step back and be like, wait a minute, I'm burned out. This isn't me. This is just me burned out. These are the symptoms of being burned out. And the more you separate your identity from those symptoms of burnout, the more you can release them and let them go. By noticing them, being mindfully aware of them, and being gentle with yourself, because you know, I am so much more than this. This is not who I am. And I can push through this. So, and the only way to push through is to separate yourself from the symptoms and not identify with those symptoms. So that's how you recover from burnout, really taking care of your mind, body, and spirit in those ways: eating clean, exercising, sleeping, separating your identity from these emotions, and becoming just aware of them. And some of the things you can do to become aware of those things are meditation, mindfulness practices, and all the other things to prevent burnout that I talked about before, and just staying mindfully aware of where you are. So I hope these tips help you. Again, like I said, there's a link down below for these tips in more detail on my blog, a free article that I wrote that'll give you more information about burnout and recovering from burnout. And please subscribe to my channel. I will be posting weekly, so I would love to have you here and to share advice together on how we can get through this conscious journey of hustling and reaching our goals in a more conscious way. So subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram @_Tiffany Shelton, and I hope to talk to you soon.